Yo, what's good? I appreciate everybody tuning in. Friday, your boy was on CP time because I had a bright idea to do something that was done and I dumb and I'll never do it again. But now I realize growing up around the way why I never went over anybody. I went over a lot of my friends' house and had dinners at a lot of my friends' house, people's house, but I never went over somebody's house and they actually made pizza from scratch with the actual dough. I thought that would be a good idea. That was the worst idea I had, like, is like in the top three. Is overpriced, is hard. People getting upset because their piece of dough not coming out right. The first time it was mad crazy. So, I was like, we just gonna buy that shit next time. Anyway, I'm glad y'all could tune into this video. This video is gonna be in line with a lot of what I've been seeing lately. I've been seeing a lot of celebrities just in the news, in the media this week, complaining about their ex-wives or their ex-girlfriends finessing them. And it made me think of this story that is or was in the news a few weeks ago. I don't know if y'all heard about it, but we're gonna talk about NFL. Honestly, he might make the Hall of Fame, but we're gonna talk about Earl Thomas and how he got finessed with identity theft for $1.9 million. Now, I'm just going to go through and give the facts. And then at the end, we can make our own conclusions or assertions as to who were the parties involved in this case. So if you're new to the channel, I'm Marcus, the Debt Free Dad, but we're talking finances, attorney reactions, current events. I'm a licensed attorney, but not your attorney, so this isn't legal or financial advice. It's infotainment purposes. Seek a professional in your area. If you need help, don't listen to a talking head on YouTube. Now, Earl Thomas, the dude played in a national championship game. He was drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. During his time with the Seattle Seahawks, he won a Super Bowl, All-Pro several times. He was a part of the world-famous Legion of Boom defense. I mean, Earl Thomas was that dude. He was a very nice football player. One of the things that come with being an NFL player is assets. You're going to make a lot of money in a short period of time, especially if you're nice, but also access. People are always want to get access to you. So let's pull up and see how much Earl Thomas made during his player years. Earl Thomas, a former NFL player, signed a 4-year contract. Okay, all right, here you go. So this is it. He was drafted by the Seahawks. During his years with the Seahawks, he made around $59.2 million in salaries during the course of his 9-year career with the Seahawks. He played 1 year with the Ravens, and in that year, he made $23.5 million. So you're thinking $60, 60 mil plus 23 mil. You talk about 83, 84 if we round it up. $84 million made during the course of his career. Let's chop that in half, chop that up to taxes, take another off the top for agents and fees. But this dude definitely came out holding some M's. As when you're in an athlete or you're someone who makes a lot of money, you make a lot of money very fast, very young, but you got to be cautious of your access. I think I saw Russell Simmons do an interview this week where he was complaining about his ex-wife, Kimura, and she married a guy who was a part of the MDB Malaysian scam where people stole hundreds of millions of dollars from the Malaysian government. And Russell Simmons says that, she used my money to pay this dude's bail. So he was complaining about how his ex-wife got him. Then I just saw a video today that somebody sent me with a former NFL player for the Falcons, Corey Behrman, was spazzing out with the cops, wilding out about how his soon-to-be ex-wife is spending so much money and don't listen. And I saw him wilding out about a $1 point something million gambling debt that she had. So the bottom line is when you got money, you have to be cautious of who you have access with. So let's flip it and talk about Earl Thomas, NFL guy, $53 million with the Seahawks, $23 to $25 million with the Baltimore Ravens. Well, what happened? Earl Thomas met his wife. In high school. So, hey, that's one of the things I would always, I ain't gonna say I recommend, but I think that's a smart move. I think that, hey, you dance with the girl you brought to the dance. So Earl Thomas met his wife in high school. They dated throughout college. He ends up marrying her during his NFL career. He was married for 6 years, okay? Because why am I giving a story about his wife when we're talking about how he got finessed with identity theft? Well, it all plays into it, and y'all got to get the facts so y'all can make a determination on the amount of involvement people may or may not have had, right? So, married to his high school sweetheart, they were married for 6 years. During the course of this 6 year relationship, they had a very unique relationship, right? They had some, they had a Blueface Krishan Rock type of relationship, uh, kind of, sort of, maybe a little bit worse, actually, now that I think about it. Now, let's go ahead. I'm going to pull up an article because I want y'all to see this article just so we can get the background on the relationship that him and his wife, his ex-wife, have, because that's going to be paramount when we look at this finesse and this identity theft. So let's go ahead and get things queued up. Let's make that bigger so everybody could see. Earl Thomas held at gunpoint by wife over alleged affair. People, police said. All right, that's a wild ass accusation, or wild ass. That's not an accusation. That's fact. That's actually happened. She had believed that he had been cheating. He may or may not have. But she decided? She decided to take matters into her own hands. This article was from 2020. So let's just go through the details because we got to understand their relationship before we get to how he got finessed and scammed, okay? All right, Baltimore Ravens safety Earl Thomas III was held at gunpoint by his wife in a violent standoff last month over an alleged affair, according to an arrest warrant. Police in Austin, Texas, responded to a call about a domestic disturbance at 3:41 a.m. All right, when police arrived, they saw a woman with a knife in her hand chasing a shirtless black man with a pistol in his hand around a car, police said. The woman and the man were later identified as Nina and Earl Thomas. Police drew their weapons, ordered the couple to the ground, and told them to drop their weapons. According to police, they complied. Earl Thomas, 7-time Pro Bowler who turned 31, told police that he had been romantically involved with the woman he was with at the rental home where the dispute occurred, and that he was working on his relationship with his wife. The arrest warrant states Thomas said he left the rental property on the morning of April 12th to go home when he got into an argument with his wife about drinking too much alcohol. He said he called his brother, Seth Thomas, to pick him up and return to the rental home where they stayed with two women, according to the affidavit. He said he was in bed with one of the women and he woke to the sound of screaming sometime between 12:45 and 1 a.m. His wife and two other women, Seth Thomas' ex-wife, his brother's ex-wife, Kamisha Garlow, and Nina Thomas' sister, Kayla Heisier, came into the bedroom and he was in, and Nina Thomas pointed a black pistol at him. The affidavit stated Earl Thomas said he grappled with his wife in the hallway for the gun. She began hitting him, according to the affidavit. He said he was able to take the gun and yell for his mistress to call the police. Okay, this is crazy. Long story short of what happened, hey, this brother was worth multi-millions, 7-time Pro Bowler. He stepped out on his wife. Him and his brother had some honey dips over. His wife pulled up with her crew. His wife was about it, brought that gun, pistol whipped him, and it got crazy. The cops did, and it just kind of went crazy. All right. So generally, I think it's a good thing for people to date or marry someone who knew them before they acquired a certain level of wealth or a certain amount of assets. I think that shows a little bit of genuineness. We see it a lot of times. Hey, LeBron James and Savannah James, they've been together since forever. You know what I mean? But you tend to have a little bit more belief that that person actually likes you for you, not just your money or your finances, because they was with you when you was broke as hell, right? So I think that does have some value. But when the shit get crazy like this, with people pulling out pistols and pistol whipping them, and I, I don't know, that's kind of crazy. Like it'd be one thing if like a nerdy lawyer like me got pistol whipped by his wife. It still would be crazy, but at least you can rationalize it. But a big ass NFL free safety who making a Pro Bowl getting pistol whipped by his wife, that's kind of wild. Okay, now let's fast forward. Okay, so that's the background. They kind of had a wild relationship after Earl Thomas left the Baltimore Ravens. The Houston Texans were about to draft him, but the players actually stood up and was like, nah, we don't want to play with that dude because apparently he comes with his own set of issues. So now that we know the background with him and his wife, let's dive into this article about how he got finessed. Okay. Now, the person who was the perpetrator, I actually wanted to pull up his photo, but I couldn't confirm that that was in fact his photo and I didn't want to use it. I believe I found it, but let's go ahead and go to the article so we can read about this identity theft and kind of learn how it happened. And uh, it was a mess, but we want to identify who the parties were. Okay, Super Bowl champion Super Bowl champion Earl Thomas falls victim to a $1.9 million scam after his identity was stolen by his ex-wife's boyfriend, and latest blow from former NFL star who house burnt down last year. The internet be internet, and I was looking at a, a championship belt with my DFD logo. Now they just trying to sell me championship belts. Earl Thomas' ex-wife's current boyfriend used Thomas' identity to open bank account and take cars. Thomas is a Pro Bowler, an All-Pro, and a Super Bowl winner with the Seahawks. Now let's dive into this. Kevin J. Thompson, who is in a relationship with Nina Thomas, Earl Thomas' ex-wife, was taken in by the Jefferson Parish, Sheriff's Office back in June. Thomas is alleged to have cashed Earl Thomas NFL checks, stolen from his bank account, and transferred car ownership for a number of vehicles. He is being charged with identity theft, forgery, money laundering, credit card fraud, computer fraud, and bank fraud. Okay, this dude just did it all. It also reported that Thomas used it. No, obviously I'm messing them up. It also reported that Thompson used a driver's license with his own photo, but the Seahawks icons information, which he used to create a phony bank account. All right, let's just think about that, okay? She dated a guy who looks so much like her husband. In the picture I saw, the dude looked just like him, but I couldn't confirm that that was him. And I didn't want to put a random guy up there who just looked like Earl Thomas and is not the alleged finesser, Mr. Thompson. But Earl Thomas' ex-wife dates a guy who looks so much like Earl Thomas, okay, that this guy was able to open bank account, gets vehicles with a phony ID card that has his own picture on it, only the name of the NFL All-Pro Earl Thomas. That is crazy as hell. And it actually makes me and gives me a few questions because really I want to know how the hell did they meet? Like, was she online looking for Earl Thomas lookalikes so she could potentially plan this out? I'm not saying she was a part of it, but I don't know. Your ex-boyfriend commits identity theft against you. It looks a little sketch, but let's go ahead and finish reading the article. It is also reported that Thompson used a driver's license with his own photo, but the Seahawks icon information, which he used to create a phony bank account. He is also alleged to have driven Thomas's blue Rolls Royce Cullinan SUV to the bank where he was arrested after transferring the vehicle into his own name. This dude he transferred Earl Thomas' car into his own name. You know how stupid that is? he got arrested driving the man's car, going to the bank to probably open another bogus bank account. I mean, like, this dude has got to be the biggest buffoon ever in the history of identity theft. After being released from jail, he is claimed to have tried to get the Rolls Royce back from the sheriff's office, but arrived in a separate car that had been reported stolen in Atlanta, leading him to be arrested again. Oh my goodness. This is too good to be true because it's just ridiculous. So, happy couple Murray, they have issues. Wife pistol whips husband. They end up getting a divorce. She starts dating a guy who looks just like Earl Thomas, Mr. Kelvin Thompson. Mr. Thompson proceeds to get a fake ID with his real picture because he looks so much like his girlfriend's ex-husband, then opens bank accounts, gets cars in his name, try to transfer the title to NFL All-Pro Earl Thomas vehicle in his name. This is crazy. After being released from jail for all the identity theft and fraud, he is claimed to have tried to get the Rolls Royce back from the sheriff's office, but arrived in a separate car that had been reported stolen in Atlanta, leading to him being arrested again. It has been a difficult couple of years for the ex-NFL star Thomas, who won a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks as part of their famous Legion of Boom secondary. In August last year, his home was left devastated by a huge fire in Orange County. At the scene, Fire Chief Manshak told reporters it was a total loss, although thankfully nobody was inside of the property when the blaze began. Now, see, those light-skinned ones, man, they can get a little crazy. I know, I got a light-skinned wife too, but she ain't pistol whipping me. I tell you that. They can get a little crazy. Months earlier, in May of 2020, he was arrested at Spanky's Bar and Grill on a warrant out of Austin for violation of a court protective order that initially stemmed from him allegedly sending threatening messages to his wife about her and their children. I mean, he could have been sending threatening messages to her about her boyfriend because that dude is terrible. It was reported at the time that Thomas was booked in Orange County jail and soon bonded out, and his bond was $15,000. Okay, see, no, the point of the story is not Earl Thomas and his troubles. Okay, look at it. If we could
ever get assigned to
University of
universities
Phoenix,
trying...
I don't want to go there. No free ads on DFD's channel. But this just shows how volatile their relationship was when he spoke out about his wife holding him at gunpoint. He probably just capped and was like, nah, she really didn't do it. Because that's crazy. You're an NFL guy and your wife run down on you and pistol whip you and hold you at gunpoint. The good news is typically when people pistol whip you, they aren't going to shoot you. Statistically, that hardly ever happens.
So my agent just hit me and said that I'm going to be on TMZ tomorrow from an altercation that happened with me and Nina. So just want to get ahead. Just wanted to get ahead of it. And I mean, it's really not anybody's business. It's pissing me off that it got out, but it's the world we live in today.
Got out, dog. She pistol whipped you and held you at gunpoint.
Instead of talking about us, just keep us in y'all prayers. And stuff like this happens, bro. You know,
I'll be damned. The devil's a lie. I would, man. That is the absolute crocker. You know what?
Live the best lives we possibly can, but sometimes it don't go as planned. Just pray for us, you know, as we go through this stuff. You know, we're back talking. You know, I'm seeing my kids. So just keep us in your prayers.
All right. So when we look at this story and break it down, who is the villain in this story? Okay, like, is the villain Earl Thomas, I think that's definitely a no. Hey, he got a divorce. He trying to live his life. Is the villain Mr. Thompson, who's the Earl Thomas lookalike who his ex-wife decided to date and use for the scam? Nah, he just a Ponzi gump in this whole thing. Me personally, I think it's extremely fishy when your ex-wife's boyfriend who looks like you is charged with scamming you out of $1.9 million. It is the possibility that she know where the accounts are. She know how to run the plays. She know where the assets are. She has the ability to get to those assets. So I'm not saying that she set this whole thing up. He could have randomly picked Earl Thomas, but I think that's a coincidence that I'm gonna call. Like if that's a random act. If someone says this is a random act of fraud, I'm putting on my cap hat because they are definitely lying. It's just no way that the person who commits identity theft is the boyfriend of your ex-wife. I don't know. That sounded a little sketch to DFD. If I was putting on my investigative hat, I would probably have to dive in and take a look at it. And I mean, shame on her because it goes to show like, $1.9 million. You got kids with this guy. Y'all was married for 6 years. I'm sure he was the breadwinner because he's made $53 million over 9 years and $23 million for 1 year with the Ravens. You could have got $1.9 million from going to family court and probably getting spousal support and child support. It probably would have been so easy for you to use the justice system to get $1.9 million as opposed to potentially, allegedly, suspectedly having your boyfriend finesse your ex-husband out of $1.9 million. Why would you want your ex-husband to get finessed out of money if you presuming that, this dude is going to do what he needs to do? But I think that's terrible. It's a cold game out here. I don't know, man. The person who you decide to marry and have kids with is the biggest factor in how your financial future will play out. So you got to be strategic. You got to pray. You got to have a little luck on your side because everything is sweet until it isn't. Everything is sweet. Everybody want to run over and be a passport bro and try to find some submissive woman overseas. Every woman is submissive until they decide not to be. So, fellas, the moral of the story is, hey, you got to keep your head on the swivel because, it's some people out there. It could be some women out there who definitely don't mean you any good. Now, Earl Thomas is out $1.9 million because his ex-wife's boyfriend decided to run a play and try to finesse him. And it's going to be interesting because I guarantee you, maybe this is just me, but if I was the defense attorney for Mr. Thompson, I would probably get him a really reduced sentence because with all of those charges, this dude looking at a substantial amount of time, and they gonna throw the book at him. Do y'all think if Earl Thomas' ex-wife had some involvement, if it wasn't just a random act, which bullshit, but if it wasn't a random act, do you think that her boyfriend, who is being charged with all of these counts of identity theft, credit card fraud, bank fraud, wire fraud, do you think he will actually snitch and tell on his girlfriend, the ex-wife of former NFL player Earl Thomas? Hell yeah. I've been doing this a lot of years and almost 14 years of practicing law, defense, prosecution, the whole nine. I know two people who I guess was what, as they say in the hood, stood tall, wouldn't even take a plea agreement to just negotiate nothing. They weren't cooperating. They didn't want to take a plea agreement. They was like, I'm just going to ask the judge and let the judge decide, which was a terrible damn idea. But I know two people out of the thousands of cases that I came across who actually just kind of refused. So I wouldn't be shocked if Earl Thomas' ex-wife, Nina, if her current boyfriend, Mr. Thompson, who has criminal charges for committing identity theft of Earl Thomas, the NFL, ex-NFL, all-pro Super Bowl champ, who looks just like this guy, who tried to open bank accounts in his name, who had an ID card with his picture, but Earl Thomas's name on it. That's how much they look alike. That dude don't owe any loyalty to Nina Thomas, and I would not be shocked. I could probably bet money that we're going to see this story 2, 3, 5 months from now, and she's going to have some charges in association with this because this dude's going to tell. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Damn, that's crazy as hell. It can happen like that. Yo, if you enjoyed this video, check out the video on the screen. There's more content related to finances and attorney reactions.